Hola amigos, welcome back to Confident Spanish. If you're a beginner Spanish learner, you're probably struggling with some tricky grammar rules that seem to pop up out of nowhere. Don't worry, I've got your back. In this video, we're diving into 12 Spanish grammar rules that every beginner should know to sound more local and natural. So grab your pen and let's get started. In Spanish, all nouns have a gender. And this gender could be either masculine or feminine. Unlike in English, where gender is usually reserved for people or animals, in Spanish, every single noun has a gender. This affects the articles and adjectives that accompany these nouns. I'll give you a hack. Masculine nouns typically end in O, like el libro, the book. Feminine nouns typically end in A, like la casa, the house. Of course, exceptions exist such as el día, the day, and la mano, the hand. But if you understand this, you'll be right using the nouns and the gender most of the time. Getting the gender right is crucial because it affects the whole sentence structure. The articles and adjectives need to match the noun's gender. Let me give you a few examples. In the sentence, el perro blanco, the white dog, both the article el and the adjective blanco are masculine. Same in the next sentence, la casa blanca, the White House. Both the article la and the adjective blanca are feminine. Knowing this, let's do this exercise together. You need to match the right article with the noun. For example, mesa. What do you think is the article for mesa? That's right, la mesa. How about libro? What's the right article? You got it right, el libro. But what if I give you coche, car? What do you think the right article is? El coche. That's right. Now that we've covered this, let's continue with the second rule, which is the plural form of nouns. In Spanish, forming the plural is straightforward once you know how this works. If you have a word that ends in a vowel, you just need to add s. For example, el coche, the car, los coches, the cars. But if the word ends in a consonant, like el cajón, the drawer, you need to make it los cajones, the drawers. Follow me on this. What's the plural of el chico, the boy? Los chicos, the boys. And how about la casa, the house? Las casas, the houses. Now we have el país, the country. How would you make it plural? Los países, the countries, because it ends in a consonant. How about la mujer, the woman? Las mujeres, the women. I think you got it. Using the correct plural form is essential for communication clarity. Misunderstanding or misusing plurals can lead to confusion on whether you're talking about one or multiple objects or people. So be careful. Moving on to the next rule, we have ser and estar, the verb to be. Spanish has two verbs that mean to be. So it's crucial to know when to use each of them because it conveys different meanings. Ser is used for permanent characteristics. Yo soy alto y moreno. I'm tall and brunette. Identity and professions. Ella es doctora. She's a doctor. Time and dates. Hoy es lunes. Today is Monday. Origin and nationality. Soy de México. I'm from Mexico. On the other hand, estar is used for temporary states or conditions. Estoy cansado. I'm tired. Locations. Ella está en casa. She's at home. Or ongoing actions, the so-called present progressive. Estoy estudiando. I'm studying. Using the wrong verb can change the meaning of your sentence entirely. It's important to understand in which context each verb is used. Let me show you with these examples. Yo soy feliz means I'm a happy person, generally, usually. But estoy feliz means I am happy now, right now. Let's do the next exercise to see if you understood how this works. Choose between ser and estar. ella en la casa. Ella está en la casa. Location. Nosotros, amigos. Nosotros somos amigos. Yo, feliz ahora. Yo estoy feliz ahora. We've come to the rule number 4, verb conjugation. When it comes to verb conjugation in Spanish, the most important thing to learn is the endings for each subject. Let's set the present tense as an example for this rule. The present tense in Spanish is used to talk about the actions that are currently happening or the things we usually do. There are 3 different types of verbs in Spanish: AR verbs, ER verbs, or IR verbs. Let's set up hablar as an example. Hablar is an AR verb that means to speak. Pay attention to the endings. Yo hablo, tú hablas, él, ella habla, nosotros hablamos, ellos hablan. Now it's your turn to do the same with cantar, to sing. Yo canto, tú cantas, él, ella canta, nosotros cantamos, ellos cantan. Now we have the verbs with ER endings. Let's use comer, to eat, as an example. Yo como, tú comes, él, ella come, nosotros comemos, ellos comen. And last but not least, we have IR verbs. Let's use vivir, to live. Yo vivo, tú vives, él, ella vive, nosotros vivimos, ellos viven. It is important to notice that most irregular verbs in Spanish have this IR ending, so be careful with those. As you can see, each tense has its own endings, but if you're able to master those endings, you'll be mastering Spanish in no time. And that's easier than memorizing every single verb in all the tenses. Next on the list, we have the reflexive verbs as the rule number 5. The reflexive verbs are used to indicate that the subject of the sentence performs the action on itself. These verbs are used for daily routines and personal care activities. Reflexive verbs come along with reflexive pronouns: me, te, se, nos, les, se. As I told you before, the subject of the sentence performs the action on itself. For example, lavarse means to wash oneself. Me lavo, te lavas, se lava, nos lavamos, se lavan. Yo me lavo las manos means I wash my hands myself. Ella se cepilla el pelo means she brushes her hair herself. Now let's do this exercise together. I'm gonna give you a reflexive verb and then you need to conjugate it in the sentence. First verb, levantarse, to get up. Yo temprano. Yo me levanto temprano. Number 2, bañarse, to take a shower. Ella en la noche. Ella se baña en la noche. Number 3, vestirse, to get dressed. Nosotros rápido. Nosotros nos vestimos rápido. Rule number 6, direct object pronouns. Direct object pronouns replace the noun that directly receives the action of the verb. This avoids repetition and makes sentences shorter and clearer. The direct object pronouns are me, te, lo, la, nos, los, las. For example, yo veo a María I see María becomes yo la veo. I see her. Tú compraste el libro, you bought the book, becomes tú lo compraste. You bought it. Now let's do this exercise together. Replace the direct object with a pronoun. Number 1. Yo veo a María. Yo la veo. Number 2. Tú compraste el libro. Tú lo compraste. Number 3. Nosotros queremos la pizza. Nosotros la queremos. Now, let's continue with the next rule. Oh, wait. I just got a reminder from the Unacademy app to complete my streak. Would you guys help me out? Let's do it. Let's pick this food preferences and taste lesson. Let's learn more about how to discuss someone's eating preferences. Él come means he eats. It can be used to express a male individual's eating preferences. Él come una pizza. In él come una pizza, note that él translates to he and come translates to eats. Él come una pizza. He eats a pizza. Translate to English, él come. He eats. Match the following. Yo como. Él come. Tú comes. Complete the sentence. Rafael eats a sandwich. Rafael come un sándwich. Translate this sentence. He eats pizza with jalapeños. Él come pizza con jalapeños. Ella come means she eats. It is used to express a female individual's eating preferences. Ella come un helado. She eats an ice cream. In ella come un helado, note that ella means she and come means eats. Ella come un helado. Did you notice? In the Spanish word ella, the pronunciation of double L is unique. It sounds different, more like a Y in English, a distinctive feature of Spanish phonetics. Translate to English. Ella come, she eats. María eats a hot dog. María come un hot dog. Did you notice? When we talk about eating, whether it's a male or a female, we use the same word come for both. So come means eats for both males and females. Translate the sentence. He drinks the water. Él bebe el agua. Match the following. Él come, he eats. Ella come, she eats. Tú comes, you eat. Yo como, I eat. Translate this sentence. She eats a burger with chicken. Ella come una hamburguesa con pollo. And that's it. We completed the streak. Thank you guys for your help. Don't forget that you can download the Unacademy app to never miss your daily Spanish lesson. Now let's continue with the next rule. Rule number 7. Indirect object pronouns. Indirect object pronouns indicate to whom or for whom the action is done. They usually accompany verbs of giving, showing, or telling. These are the indirect object pronouns. Me, te, le, nos, les. For example, yo doy el libro a Juan, I give the book to Juan, becomes yo le doy el libro, I give him the book. Tú escribes una carta a María, you write a letter to María, becomes tú le escribes una carta, you write her a letter. It's time for the exercise. Replace the indirect object with a pronoun. Number 1. Yo doy el libro a Juan. Yo le doy el libro. Number 2. Tú escribes una carta a María. Tú le escribes una carta. Ellos traen comida para nosotros. Ellos nos traen comida. We've got to the rule number 8. How to use gustar, to like, and similar verbs. Gustar, to like, are verbs that work a little differently in Spanish than others. The structure is reversed, meaning that the subject is what is liked and the object is the person who likes it. Me gusta el libro, I like the book, literally means the book pleases me. The book is the subject and pleases me is me liking the book. Other verbs that work similar are encantar, to love, interesar, to interest, and molestar, to bother. But of course, there are a lot more. Now the exercise. I'll give you the phrase in English and then you need to translate it to Spanish. Ready? Number 1, I like apples. Me gustan las manzanas. Number 2, we like the movie. Nos gusta la película. Number 3, she likes to dance. Le gusta bailar. Here's the rule number 9, the imperfect tense. The imperfect tense is used to set the scene in the past and talk about repeated actions, which means it creates context. First, let's see how to conjugate these verbs. Hablar, yo hablaba, tú hablabas, él, ella hablaba, nosotros hablábamos, ellos hablaban. Comer. Yo comía, tú comías, él, ella comía, nosotros comíamos, ellos comían. Vivir. Yo vivía, tú vivías, él, ella vivía, nosotros vivíamos. Ellos vivían. The imperfect tense is essential for telling stories and creating context in the past. Cuando era niño, jugaba al fútbol. When I was a child, I used to play soccer. Siempre comíamos juntos los domingos. We always used to eat together on Sundays. Now let's do the exercise. I'm gonna give you the verb and then you need to conjugate it correctly in the sentence. Number 1, jugar, to play. Yo, fútbol cada día. Yo jugaba fútbol cada día. Number 2, comer, to eat. Nosotros, juntos, todos los domingos. Nosotros comíamos juntos todos los domingos. We've come to the rule number 10, which is a headache for most Spanish students. Por and para. Por and para both mean for, but they are used in different contexts and they convey different meanings. Mastering their use is key to sounding more natural in Spanish. Por is used for duration. Yo trabajo por 8 horas. I work for 8 hours. Reason or motive. Lo hago por ti. I do it for you. Exchange. Pagué $10 por el libro. I paid $10 for the book. Para is used for purpose or goal. Estudio para aprender. I study to learn. Destination. Vamos para la playa. We're going to the beach. Recipient. Este regalo es para ti. This gift is for you. Picking the right preposition affects the meaning of your sentences and prevents misunderstandings. Now let's do the exercise to see if you understood por and para. Translate the English sentences to Spanish. I study to learn. Estudio para aprender. I'm traveling for work. Viajo por trabajo. This gift is for you. Este regalo es para ti. The rule number 11 that you should learn is the commands. And there are many rules about the commands, but we're gonna focus our attention on learning how to use them in a positive and a negative way. The affirmative commands with the subject you, tú, use the third person singular form. Hablar, to speak. The command, habla. Comer, to eat. The command, come. For the negative command, we're gonna use the conjugation for tú in the subjunctive. Hablar, to speak. The command, no hables. Comer, to eat. The command, no comas. And now a few examples in sentences. Habla más alto. Speak louder. No hables tan rápido. Don't speak so fast. And now let's do the exercise. I'm gonna give you the verb you need to use and then just conjugate it correctly in the sentence. Comer, no tanto, no comas tanto. Vivir, no con miedo. No vivas con miedo. And the last rule of the day is relative pronouns. Relative pronouns introduce related phrases and put them together. They refer to a noun used previously and combine two sentences into one. The relative pronouns are que, that, which, who, quién, who, whom, and cuál, which. For example, la casa que compré es grande. The house that I bought is big. El amigo que vino es simpático. The friend who came is nice. Using relative pronouns correctly helps to create complex sentences and make you sound like a pro. Let's do this exercise together. I'm gonna give you the phrase in English and translate it to Spanish. Number 1, the person who talked is my sister. La persona que habló es mi hermana. Number 2, the girl who lives here is my friend. La chica que vive aquí es mi amiga. Number 3, the house that I purchased is big. La casa que compré es grande. And there you have it. Those were the 12 Spanish grammar rules that every beginner might be missing out on. Understanding and practicing these rules will surely help you to improve your Spanish speaking skills and gain more confidence in the language. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Confident Spanish, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future lesson. Nos vemos!